This weekend I had an incredible weekend. My new Skydio drone just arrived on Friday, and I spent the weekend testing this thing and putting it through the ringer. Now, I've seen quite a lot of Skydio test footage, but not much of it was with motorbikes. Most of it was either cyclists or people walking. And the footage that I did see with motorbikes tended to be out in clear paddocks. So there was no footage that kind of represented the type of environment that I tend to ride in, either in Australia or Texas. And so I decided to take the Skydio out and flog it and give it a real stress test. And I'm in Austin at the moment, so I went riding in Texas Hill Country, and Texas Hill Country has trees that are just like designed to kill drones. And so I thought I'd just see what this thing could do. And spoiler alert, oh my God, it is incredible. This video is sort of broken up into 3 sections. So I'm going to show you a 60-second highlight reel of some of the footage I made this weekend. And this is my first weekend with the Skydio. Then I'm going to show you the actual sort of testing process of what it was like and how I tested the drone. And then finally, I'm going to show you some of the scary bits. And just a warning, if you fly DJI drones, don't look at this, because it scared the shit out of me. And anyone that's used to flying sort of normal drones, it will scare the shit out of them. In terms of, like, if you're not familiar with the Skydio, what makes the Skydio quite unique is this is an autonomous drone. So unlike the DJI drones, you don't fly it, it flies by itself. And yeah, I know that the Mavics have got active track. Active track is a failure compared to this drone, and you'll see that when I show you. One of the things that makes it quite incredible is it has this little beacon. And the beacon transmits GPS coordinates to the drone so that even if the drone loses you visually, it knows where you are and it continues to track. And you'll see that through this testing. Anyway, let's kick off, and I'm going to start off and just show you a little 60-second highlight reel of my first footage with the Skydio. When I first launched the drone, it started behaving pretty erratically. It was flying around by the tree. I wasn't quite sure what was going on, but it scared the bejesus out of me. I couldn't seem to control it, but I later realized that I'd made a big mistake. I forgot to enable tracking, as in tracking me. And so I kind of just did the only thing I could think of, which was just jump on the bike and ride and see what would happen, see if the drone would start following me. Well, you can see the drone did start following me, but if you look at it, it's not tracking me. I think it's kind of like a lost dog just trying to follow its owner. I had forgotten to enable subject tracking, so it wasn't actually just tracking me, it was just kind of trying to stay nearby so it wouldn't get lost. And you can see the pictures all over the place. I was sort of panicking a bit, so I told the beacon to push the drone further away. And I hadn't realized at this stage what the problem was. So I just started riding, and I started riding through the trees. And I was kind of too scared just to actually look at the image. And you can see the drone is kind of loosely following me, but it's still acting pretty erratically. And I then tried bringing it closer, but it was all over the shop. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty scary when you see this drone shadow darting backwards and forwards in front of you. And then finally it twigged. I realized what happened. So I brought the drone down and I did a hand launch. And the reason I did a hand launch is because you can see the drone automatically turns around and locks onto you from a hand launch. And after that, everything just came into place. You can see the drone is just tracking me beautifully. And, you know, it's just dodging between the trees quite incredibly. And these trees, you know, I couldn't have given it a tougher workout. I was flying it pretty much, you know, around tree height. And you can see that it's just dodging beautifully, finding its own way around obstacles, and all the while keeping me in frame. So then I brought the drone in closer, and I decided to do it, and I kept it off onto my back right-hand quarter, pretty much where the tree trunks would be. And I wanted to see how it would handle a run through the trees pretty close in. Now, check this out for avoidance. Like, if that's not enough to make a drone pilot shudder, I don't know what is. But you can see it dodged incredibly well. And then it sort of gained a bit of height to sort of catch up to me. And then it went back onto station. And have a look at this. This is a little bit higher, flying through these crazy Texas drone killing trees. Look at what a great job it does. Then here, I actually rode through an arch. The trees were fully connected over the top, and I wanted to see how the drone would handle that. And so here is the drone during that ride. I kept the drone low and close behind me, and you can see it sort of just tracks through that arch without any problems at all. So I landed the drone, and I was pretty relieved at those first few runs. I went to a new location, just a different road, different set of trees, and I started getting more confidence with the drone at this point. You can see the drone slows down a little bit at times when it's a tough obstacle, and it seems to sort of pop up above the trees when it needs to catch up, and then when it can, it then dives back down to get on station. All the while keeping the framing pretty neat. So it's all very usable. Here I go around two tight S-bends or corners, and you can see the drone's framing me really well. So in this test, I decided to bring the drone up a bit higher and fly at about canopy level. I wanted to see how it sort of dealt when it was further away from the bike. And you can see the shots are stunning. It really gives you a great sense of the countryside that I'm riding in. Something you just don't get with GoPro, you know, when you're on bike. But this, you know, you can see the countryside beautifully. You can see the roads. You really get a sense for the experience. You can see the drone just paused a bit there. I think because it came close to the canopy of one of the trees. So it does sort of stop and start every once in a while, but generally I was pretty happy with these shots that I was doing just above tree height. So I was literally skimming over the top of the trees. So that test was very successful, but now I had the toughest test yet for the drone. I knew this patch of road which was pretty challenging, so I went over to it, and basically you drop down this hill and then you go through kind of like a tunnel of trees and then a water crossing. So here I'm riding down the hill and I've got the drone up pretty high behind me, and now here, this is the tunnel of trees, and you can see it's pretty damn challenging. There's not much space there, it's a very narrow road. So here's the way the drone handled it. So you can see I had the drone a fair way away to get the sort of high perspective, and as I came around the bend I just tapped the range button on the beacon and told the drone to come in close to me. So you can see it's coming down, skimming that tree, getting lower, and then now it's setting up for going into that tunnel. Now, if the drone could talk, I think it would be saying, what the hell, where are we going? You can see it took that too wide, and then it's sort of starting to get confused. Now at this point it bails out and it lost me. And all of a sudden I got a warning alert on my phone and I knew that I'd lost the beacon. So it told me to go back to the last place where the beacon tracked me. So I went back, and all of a sudden the drone found me. It just sort of reconnected. You can see the drone's getting back onto station. So I thought, okay, well, why don't we give this another crack? So I turned around and decided to give the drone another shot through the tunnel. I can imagine the drones looking at this as going, holy shit, not here again. You can see it's sort of following me into the tunnel. Now the drone has I've enabled this sort of safety floor, so it's not actually going below 8 feet. And I think if I dropped it below 8 feet, it would actually follow me through fine. But you can see now the drone pops up, it's still tracking me, and where it can, it actually now will drop back down and get back on station. So this is where I'm approaching the water crossing, and the drone is with me. It's back on station for it. So all in all, I was blown away by this result. Okay, so if you're used to flying conventional drones, when you jump onto the Skydio, it is scary. You might think this tail bag is carrying tools and equipment for my bike. It's actually carrying spare underwear. And I'll tell you what, I needed every one of those changes of underwear testing the Skydio. It's pretty nerve-wracking at first until you learn to actually trust the drone. So without further ado, here's some of the scary highlights or lowlights from my weekend of testing. What I came to learn though was I pushed this drone to the limit, probably beyond the limits over the weekend, not a single crash. And this has really built my trust and confidence in the Skydio drone. And I can't wait to now take it on some of my adventures.